Tokoroa, reduce take one from the northern, or one from the northern part and a councillor from here, that would save money. That's the way I would see it. And the political process or the democratic process would be even far greater. That's just my...
And look, you're again more than welcome to submit on that and put that proposal forward. Absolutely, that's what...
So one would lose each, but the workload of the councillors, like the 6 councillors we've got at the moment in Tokoroa, would be reduced, I would think, if they share that with the community board, for example. My way of thinking.
Sure. Craig, can you bring that slide up again with the pros and cons of the community board?
Of the community board, that one there?
Yep, and with your permission, I wanted to just, because I submitted to full council in the 10-year plan on this, and I didn't speak much to it. But one of the things I wanted to point out, the Te Aru had 4 people in a 500 auditorium at the plaza, and so today, in 6,000 seat venue, we got 1 person, which is Alan Blair, that's come along. Now, the community board...
Don't you count yourself, Bruce?
No, I see myself as a bit of media with Bruce, and I spent $40 to go to T-Rail and buy T-Rail, and you spent $40 to come to this meeting, so the only person in the board, apart from staff, okay? So, there's a prime example of how important a community board is, because look at how we filled the hall in T-Rail, and what we've seen here and in Te Aru, with no community board, it's flatline. Whereas, my gosh, the meeting that the mayor attended and the staff attended, it was one of the best meetings that we've been to.
Yeah.
So,
look, well, I would agree, and maybe Bruce made the point earlier on about marketing of those meetings, and perhaps marketing of that particular meeting had an impact on the attendance, and that's fine. That's what it's all about.
just coming over onto this side with the red tape, advisory only. I would suggest that if you looked at it from a strategic perspective, and you give, because I'm an advocate of a community board in Te Aru, as well as Arapuni, out where you live, and here, 4 of them. One of the things is the UAGC, which is capped at 600. That money can all go to the community board to organise their parts of that with the water and stuff like that. And the reason for that is, at the moment, the council's having those 64 meetings, when a lot of the stuff we talked about at council meeting, half an hour on the $3,500 light in the T-Rail domain, that's a budget that they can work on. So there's certain things that they can do in consultation. And so it really lightens what the district council has to decide on, because it's actually looking after 4 community boards, and the community boards interact. Now, I invited Peter here, the whole of all of those people in that hall, and Pete was the only one that came. There's another example, the tyranny of distance. And so why did they not come? You know, it's the same sort of thing. And why did they not walk across the road to come here on a cold night? And so my point is the community board's a really important part. And that's why I hope my one submission, because I'm not going to go out and canvass and get lots of submissions in, but I hope just the point about who turned up at this meeting is borne out. And that's why we need a community board.
So you've got 4 councillors here during that board. So put the submission, I'm sure we'll be considered.
And I'd have to second Roddy's motion. I'm actually quite amazed that this council isn't taking seriously the lack of engagement with the community. I came to the long-term plan meeting, and it was the only reason most people here was because of Strathmore Park. Most people in the community that I've spoken to feel disengaged from the process of local government. They don't feel they have a connection with the council. And what we're seeing here with this proposal is the council patting at it. They're busy stopping up a small nail hole while there's a gaping hole in the wall. That's the scale of the crisis that we've got here, with the lack of engagement with the community. And playing around with numbers like this, it does nothing. There's a much, much bigger problem, a more essential problem. The council seems to be sort of covering its ears, covering its eyes, and pretending doesn't exist. This meeting is the perfect example. Where are the people? This is a really important issue. Nobody's here because nobody feels like what they're going to say will have any effect. Now, the council is like a group of sorters in a sewage factory. They go through the motions. Nothing comes of it. I've seen people make submissions, and I looked at that whole long-term planning process, and I looked at how some of the submissions were dealt with, and the council, obviously, if local government comes, or the central government comes in with their local government commission and has a look, everything's fine, all the boxes are ticked, we consulted, we took submissions. But are these things actually being acted on? Because it struck me that some of the key things that were raised in that long-term plan submission were pretty much kind of, glossed over during the process, the discussion process. We'll talk about this at the end. We're at the end, no time to talk, let's move on. It strikes me that this council has got better things to do than to dick around like this. They've got to look at this whole lack of engagement. And community boards, as Rodney raised, is one way of doing it. Because the councillors obviously, look, how many councillors are here tonight? Councillors, hands up. I don't recognise you all. 1, 2, 2. Okay, so 3. Okay, how many councillors do we have?
10.
Where are the other 7? This is an important meeting. Why are the councillors here? They're not here. How can they expect the public to come?
Bruce, they have been attending other meetings. So
Yeah,
to pick up on your point, I'm sure council would agree with me. We would love to see a lot more people here and love a lot more engagement. I guess the counter to the fact that people have given up is when you look at the satisfaction survey that was done last year at this district, we've actually got a very high level of satisfaction. So I guess the other counter argument is that maybe people are comfortable with what's going on, but who knows?
I'm if they're in the community, you're in the council, I speak to people, have a different response to the surveys are fine, that's great, surveying and canvassing is useful, but you've got to realise that you don't always get the accurate results from the survey. Look how many elections have been predicted in the surveys and the reverse was actually happened. But I think the council needs to go back 3 or 4 steps and ask themselves, what are we doing wrong?
Bruce, that's fine, and again, we're talking about representation really here, and I'm sure that your comments have been heard, and we've obviously heard them before, so at the moment we'd like to focus on the representation.
Well, I'm saying community board, to me, strikes the deal, enables the councillors to leverage their position over a large area. One councillor can only deal with so many individuals. If people go through a community board, that flow of information is condensed, it's focused, it's far more efficient than you guys having to have, councillors having to have 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 people all coming on the same subject. If they go to the community board then makes a submission on behalf of those people. The democracy is extended by virtue of that leverage you're going.
Bruce, and look, I love the philosophy. I guess when I look at the last election when we had 3 councillors standing for Tokoroa only for 3 positions and 1 standing here for 1 position, I do wonder whether people are that engaged in terms of whether community board would struggle to find people as well. My own personal opinion, I'll just make that point.
Can we go to the next slide, the one on the next slide? Because one of the things that I find with this, we spend about $8 million a year in gambling with the pokie machines and stuff. And
yourself.
Well, not me, but as the district. So one of the things that's been really difficult is to actually have a body of a person that has an accountant on it and an educator. And it's really, really hard. So only about $200,000 of that $8 million actually comes back to the community. And places that benefit at Taupo, and also Cambridge, because they have a lot of community groups that can attract those qualified, educated, professional individuals, and it makes it a lot easier to attract the money. So when I look through some of this stuff, the reason you have a community board is they actually have access to the staff at council. They actually can leverage, because of the constitution and the protection of it, you can leverage professionals, and you can get a much better grassroots bootstrap for your community than relying on non-governmental organisations. The other thing for a community board, yes, they're not paid, and what you actually get is you get groups that are actually after something which benefits them as a group, and there are lots of other non-governmental organisations, service groups and stuff, and they find it difficult to organise themselves, whereas a community board can foster and look after everyone in the community and not just the non-governmental organisation that a splinter group have. So this is why I wanted to refer to this page as an important page to support a community board. The other thing is, tonight, I wanted to suggest that Tokoroa break away from South Waikato and move to Taupo. So can you show us the figures with regards to Tokoroa ward doing that? Because you had the figures for Te Rao going with Matamata.
I had the comparison. So you mean the comparisons around rates and so on that I showed?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have those figures very comparisons. I didn't know I was going to be asked this question, to be honest. But I mean, if you go to the New Zealand Taxpayers Union and look at the elite tables, as I said the other night, we're certainly the lowest in the Waikato region, which Taupo is part, in terms of our average rates, our debt levels, and our operating costs. Not debt levels, sorry, I'll tell a lie. But in terms of our operating costs and in terms of our average rates, we're the lowest in the Waikato region. we have a